Channel questions. What was your job before reviewing RC cars? Probably this actually, I'm going to answer this one first. So you're in the future at the moment. I'm answering this question, then we'll go back to the start. What was your job before reviewing RC cars? The same job I have now. I've still got a job. And this is probably going to be a bit of a surprise to some of you. I'm an aircraft electrician and I've just coming up to the end of my service in the military. So I've done 23 years in the RAF as an aircraft electrician stroke avionics and stuff. So there you go. I'm in the military. A lot of you didn't know that, did you? I actually, it was actually last week. I handed my notice in last week and I leave next year after 24 years, Queen and Country. Guys, it's question time. In front of me is 30 questions that have been put together by members of the MSUK forum. If you don't know about the MSUK forum, I'll leave some links in the description. The big, or one of, if not the biggest in the UK. You don't have to be from the UK to join though. Go and check it out. I think although a lot of people say forums are dead, I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because the amount of questions I get on here and the amount of questions I see over on Facebook in some of the Facebook groups, and bearing in mind not everyone's on Facebook, and as we and as the weeks and months pass, more and more people chin off Facebook just because of, well, because Facebook. So although some people may think forums are dead, I think they're coming back. I definitely think that forums are coming back and they're definitely the place to find answers to some of your questions. So anyway, big shout out to MSUK for putting all these questions together for me. I was going to do a quick snappy video, fire off the questions, answer them like 1-2 word answers, but I think you deserve more than that. So grab a coffee or a beer, have a seat. I've got water because I cycled over here and I'm not as fit as I used to be. So grab whatever you want to pass the time, or just go and click off the video to pass the time. If you don't want to know a little bit more about me, and there is quite a lot of questions in here. They've been split into categories, and there is a category titled Kevin Talbot. I'm sure some of you want to know about that bit. Right, anyway, let's go straight into some RC ones. How did you get into RC? In about 1990, 1991, I used to go at my school, I used to go to the RC club there. I didn't have one. I used to just enjoy going and watch. And there was a guy there who swapped me his Madcap for my Game Boy. Game Boys were pretty new like in 1990. I swapped my Game Boy that I probably got for Christmas or my birthday for a Tamiya Madcap, and then that's how I got into RC. And then shortly, well, I say shortly after that, I then had, I think I had a Monster Beetle, probably a couple of other Tamiyas, I can't remember. And then when I was about 16 with my first wage packet, or my first proper wage packet, I bought an MO1 that had just been released, the MO1 Mini. So that's kind of how I got into RC, like most people as a kid in the 90s. What was your first RC? Already answered that one. It was a Tamiya Madcap. I would love to actually build a Madcap, but getting a new in-box kit, nah, a lot of money. Desert Island, the 3 RC cars you would take with you and why? That's a difficult one. Let's think about this. Desert Island, obviously we've got power, we've got lipos. Desert Island, definitely going to take the DR8. This thing's an absolute beast, 6S, 60 mile an hour. This would be a lot of fun on a desert island. You probably want something to haul some firewood for you. As much as I'd like to take a WPL with me, it's a little bit small, even though it is good at carrying firewood. So it'd probably have to be a crawler, and at the moment, my favourite, or one of my favourites, is the Night Runner from Element. Any decent-ish crawler would do. So you've got like a basher, got a crawler. Then probably what you need is a jack of all trades. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? A jack of all trades? Yes, it's got to be a Traxxas Summit. And as much as I don't want to admit I'd take a Traxxas to a desert island with me, the Summit's pretty good at everything. So DR8 for bashing, Summit for everything, and then just one of my favourite crawlers, the Night Runner. FCX Geo, one of my favourites at the moment. And I don't know, I've got a few other choices. So what made you start the channel? Well, big Tamiya fan. I was part of it, funnily enough, talking about forums and talking about MSUK who have done these questions for me. I was part of the, or still am part of the Tamiya forum, and on there is the like a speed run topic, and I kind of got involved with that. As you get older and as you know, from your childhood through to being an adult, sometimes you have a little bit more money to spend. technology had advanced, and I wanted to see how fast I could make my Tamiya's. So I got involved in the speed runs on there, and I had, what did I have? I had a stadium, what's the Tamiya stadium truck? Stadium Blitzer. So I started with Stadium Blitzer, and I got it up to 53 mile an hour. That's kind of how that was the very first RC video, I think, on the channel, and it's still there. Possibly the worst video ever. You can hardly see anything, it's blurred, and it's just like a yellow dot that goes past. So started doing that, and then I started buying other Tamiyas and trying to get them faster, and I had a few videos that done okay. And then I bought a WLtoys 124018, and that was about three or so years ago, and I actually done a review on that. One of the first reviews of the channel was about 3 years ago. So quite a bit before anyone else was doing that sort of thing, I started doing reviews. That got quite popular, so then I bought some more stuff from Banggood, funnily enough, and they got quite popular. And then it just went from there, really. And then I started getting a few of the smaller companies asking me to review stuff for them. When I think I had about 1,400 subscribers in mid-2018, and then that's when it's kind of gone from there. Where do you see your channel in 5 years' time? Well, as some of you know, I've recently got hold of this unit, so I've leased this unit. The lease is it's a 3-year lease at the moment for it, and I've spent quite a bit getting lighting. I've got new benches and stuff in here, and I've got some plans for sort of this side. We're going to get a track in and things like that. 5 years' time, I'm not sure I'll be in this unit because I'm actually planning on moving. Year after next, we're moving house, and we're moving away from where I am now. You know, I'm probably going to be about an hour or so from here, so I'll keep hold of the unit. But 5 years' time, it'd be nice to have my own workshop. But what I could probably see in 5 years' time, having another unit somewhere, maybe a bit smaller than this. It's a bit big. Still doing this, definitely still doing this. I want to branch off and do some other stuff. That's why I've got another channel that I'm doing sort of behind the scenes, but I want to try and mold that into more of the other stuff I'm into as well. Waffling a bit, aren't I? 5 years, I'll say I'm going to have 250,000 subscribers. All you guys are still going to be watching me. I'm still going to be doing relevant stuff. And rest assured, for those of you that like the cheaper stuff being reviewed, I'm always going to be reviewing some of the budget stuff as well. That's never going to go, because that's what this channel's built on. So I'm always going to be doing that more affordable stuff. I naturally assumed your name was Tom, and only just found out that it wasn't. So my question is simple: where does the name Tomley RC come from? This is a really easy one. I've got a child called Thomas, I've got a child called Charlie, so I just took the first 3 from Thomas and the last 3 from Charlie, and it made Tomley. The first time I ever used Tomley was on an eBay account of mine, probably pretty much when eBay started, 2003 maybe, 2002. And then it's been my Xbox user tag, Tomley79. You can have me on Xbox, I don't really go on much, but Tomley79 is my Xbox gamer tag, and so naturally Tomley RC. It was Tomley RC Garage. On Twitter I was Tomley RC World for a bit.
It's Tomley RC World. He sent me this video of him doing this to his son or daughter, and I was like, yo, I have to do this, of course. So there it is. What's
your secret to quickly building up a successful channel? I'm trying my best, but my channel's been stuck below 3,000 for years. It's not simple. I mean, it's a hard one to answer. You've got to be consistent. You've got to look at what people want. You've got to kind of, as much as I see a lot of people saying, oh, it's my channel, I do what I want. If that's the attitude you have, then unfortunately, you probably are, you know, you're probably gonna not do all that well. If you have got a channel, you need to look at what you're doing, what people like, look at your most popular videos, you need to look at your analytics. I can't stress that enough. If you're not looking at analytics of your channel, then yeah, it's not gonna it's not gonna help at all, because you need to know what people are watching or when people are clicking off, and you've just got to learn. So yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to answer. How do you build up? I mean, this wasn't quick. This is 2017 I started doing this, so it's definitely not a quick thing. You just got to know what people want, and you've got to try and please your customer. If you're doing it, I don't want to talk of it as like a customer or like a business as such, but if you think of viewers as your customer, you need to get more customers in, don't you? So you need to do what they want. And for my channel, a lot of people like the budget stuff. If I started doing videos of really expensive stuff, I'm pretty sure that my numbers would drop off, or my views would definitely go down. Kevin Talbot, do you plan to do any collaborations with Kev? I speak to Kev quite a bit, and we've not really spoke about it. It's not something he does. We both do RC stuff. He does some review stuff, but he's more into like I was saying, like the high end stuff. I don't do that sort of stuff, and that's his kind of thing. There might be a time when you see us both on either his channel or my channel, but we've got no plans to do it because he does different stuff to me, and I'm massive on this. Kind of goes back to the other question about building up a channel. I'm massively, I really think that organic subscribers are what you need to keep getting the views. So if I was to do a collab with him, I'm not sure that, I don't know whether it would benefit the channel, because I might end up getting, you know, a good amount of subscribers from doing some stuff with him, but do them subscribers really want to watch my content? You know, are they expecting to watch me go to skate parks and, you know, jump X maxes 40, 50 foot in the air, or spend thousands of pounds on, you know, I don't know, armor cratons or stuff like that? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You do what you want, you know, on your channel. I just don't know whether doing a collaboration would sort of benefit us, really. I mean, you might enjoy it. I'm sure some of you enjoy it, but it's definitely nothing we've really discussed. Do you think you could beat Talbot in an arm wrestle? Well, funny you should say that, because I did send him a message with that question. He said probably, and then he mentioned he did actually beat someone, like some gym guy once, so who knows. And then I suggested maybe that's our first collaboration. So there you go. Just talking about collaborations with him, and I did say maybe an arm wrestle. There's another question here about it. I'm not going to do that just yet. We'll talk about that in a minute. RC industry. Oh, there's loads of questions here. How long have we been going? 18 minutes. Wow. Are you just cars, or do you ever fly planes? Never really been into planes, and I don't think I will either. What's your opinion on cheaper Chinese AliExpress Banggood cars entering the market? I think it's really good. Now, a lot of people don't. There's actually a couple of reasons why I think it's good, and there's also some reasons why I think it's good for you to watch my channel, because I do try and sort of filter out or whittle out some of the crap. And I know people are going to disagree on some of these, but the WLtoys, I'm a big WLtoys fan, but they're 104, 001. Didn't like it. Bendy chassis, it broke, I hit like a raised bit on a skate ramp, and the chassis flexed that much, it bent and damaged the motor. This XLF, well, I don't like that either. It wasn't very good at anything. These things are absolute junk as well. But then on the flip side, stuff like this really, really impressed me. The Eachine ETA4, the WLtoys, the new brushless one, really good. Brushless boat, I've not reviewed that, but I have seen some, that's good. Not really cheap, but it is from like Banggood, AliExpress, the HG Hummer, that is really good. WPL, another really good Chinese brand. MM models, they've upset me recently with one of their releases, but these are really good. So there's pros and cons. I do like that you can get some affordable stuff, but also there is some crap that comes out there, but you could say that with most brands, couldn't you? And I don't want to upset anyone, but look at the version 1 Armour Kraton 8S that came out. That didn't do very well, did it? I know that I've not got much experience with Traxxas, but I know the UDR's got its issues, or had its issues out of the box, so I've got no issues with some of the stuff coming out of China. Kyosho seems to not follow the bashing segment 1/8, no serious truggy, no serious MT, no smaller scale cars. Can you guess the reason? Is the company having a rough day? Well, I think Kyosho, along with Tamiya, they've been there since the start. So they have their like little community, the same as Tamiya do for the nostalgia. So I think Kyosho, where they make their money is in some of their legendary series, which are absolutely awesome. I've got a Turbo Scorpion up there, and I want to get a few more. I mean, you have the Mad Vans relatively recent edition. It's a bit of a basher, isn't it? And I've got the USA one that's, well, it was meant to be released about 2 months ago. I've got that coming, which 1/8 scale, but again, they've not gone into the big market like Armour and Traxxas, because I don't think that's where Kyosho come from. Do you know what I mean? That'd be like Tamiya producing an X-Max killer. It's just not what they're going to do. I do really like them though. I'd say they're probably, from like a sort of old school point of view, if I had to choose between like an original Tamiya or an original Kyosho, I'd probably go to Kyosho and have like the Turbo Scorpion kind of legendary era. Although I do really like my vintage Tamiyas as well. Do you ever think WLtoys will make 1/8 scale? I think they will. They've done 1/14th, they've done 1/12th, they've done 1/10th. Their next step, definitely. I'd say 2022, we're probably going to see a 1/8 scale from WLtoys. I don't know what it'd be, but I think they will. I reckon it might be a little bit like the FTX DR8, kind of that desert buggy style. Do you think the hobby has grown in popularity in recent years? Yes, definitely, 100% it has gone a lot bigger. I don't know whether some of the companies out there have seen a change in it, and I don't want to fluff his ego too much, but because of the fan base that Kev's got, you've got a lot more people into like that bashing side of things that are coming into the to the market. So yeah, you can thank Talbot for probably, well, people, spare shortages, you could probably thank him for that, because everyone needs A-arms and chassis and stuff.
Oh, this is going to be the world's highest RC jump ever to the moon. Oh.
What are your all-time top, this is a weird one, battery connectors, songs, films, shock oil thickness, mother-in-law jokes? Battery connectors, XT60. Songs, I listen to absolutely anything. I used to be a DJ for a few years. Songs, I listen to, on my radio, I listen, if you're in the UK, you'll get this, Kiss FM, but then some days I listen to Radio X. So, you know, two massively different categories of music. As a teen, I used to listen to Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Pearl Jam. I was big into sort of like the rock and like metal side of things. And then as I got a bit older, when I started going to nightclubs and stuff, I got more into dance stuff like 90s and then early 2000s. So yeah, loads of songs to choose from. What else was there? Shock oil thickness, whatever I've got in the box. Usually 600 or 700 weight. Mother-in-law jokes. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think people would like to see more of being released now? Good question. I don't know, you tell me, what would you like to be released? Are there any areas you need more innovation from RC companies? I think they don't need to be more innovative, but what they do need to do, I think we might be right with Traxxas because they're big on their spare stuff. But from what I've seen, generally, I think companies forget about innovating stuff, get massive spares packages, chuck a spares package out into like the community, like in all the hobby shops, then release your new car. There you go. That business advice was free. Don't release stuff and then make us wait for spares forever. And that's just not one company I'm talking about. It's loads of companies do it. Very annoying. What things do you think could be improved in the RC world? I've just answered that. Stop trying to be innovative and get more parts. Have you ever raced? Not RC cars. Have any ties with FTX? Yes, I do. I do a lot of work for FTX and CML distribution. They are big supporters of the channel. However, even before did I contact them? They contact me? Even before I had ties with FTX, I was using their stuff anyway. So big fan of them. Some really good entry-level stuff, and then they're starting to go a little bit, you know, you get some higher-end stuff. My recommendations, this isn't a question, but if you want to get into any niche of the hobby, crawlers, definitely look at the FTX range, especially like the Outbacks, which are pretty cheap, and they might not be the best straight out of the box, but there's upgrades for them, and it is a good entry level. If you want to go into sort of the bashing side of things, they've got a lot of, they've got short course trucks, they've got some buggies. I'd recommend, again, the brushless side of things. They're a little bit stronger in my opinion. And if you want to get into the 6S range, forget Armour, forget Traxxas, get an FTX DR8. They're so cheap, but they are absolutely awesome. There you go. I have got ties with FTX, and there's a plug for them. Buy a DR8 if you want. If you can't afford an Armour or a Traxxas, or you don't want to buy an Armour or Traxxas, get a DR8. I'm pointing up there because that's where it is. And if you want to get in the crawler scene, definitely look at the FTX range of all their crawlers. I recommend the Geo if you want to go straight in without needing to do any mods. Oh, we're getting close to the end. Oh, I've got a few more RC questions, but let's talk about my wife. Your wife. Now, my wife printed these off, and she kind of says, oh, there's questions about me. You want me to tell you how to get married? Are you married? Please tell me how you do it. I think I know what you mean. She's got her own business stroke hobby. I've got my own business stroke hobby. So we understand, you know, our passion. She doesn't understand why grown men want to play with toy cars, basically, but she understands it's my hobby and people enjoy it. And I don't get some of the stuff she does, but, you know, she makes a little bit of money from that. I make a little bit of money for this. We spend time together. I buy her trainers every now and then just to keep her sweet. She doesn't do flowers or chocolates, but she does like trainers. So yeah, how do you do it? Buy your wife whatever they enjoy, handbags, trainers, shoes, whatever. Keep them sweet. How does she feel about RC? Does the process of filming and editing? No. So I just kind of answered this. It's never caused problems. There's been times where it's been a little bit stressful because I've got stuff to do, or I want to go out and film something and we've got other stuff to do, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's ever caused problems. It probably did a little bit. It was probably a little bit more stressful 2 or 3 years ago when I was going out doing stuff, but I wasn't getting anything back from it. Before companies were sending me stuff, before like YouTube was paying me, before I was getting sponsored videos and stuff like that, you'd spend a lot of time, I'd spend a lot of time sort of filming stuff with no real return, or, you know, we couldn't really see any reason for it. Whereas because, you know, we've got plans and things are coming together now, much easier. GR Yaris. What made you choose the GR Yaris? Don't get me wrong, I think they're awesome cars and great value for money with performance you get, but what was it specifically that made you choose it over other hot hatches? Over the years, most of my cars have been hot hatches. For my very first, well, my second car was a Mark II XR2. And then I went through a stage of I bought loads of XR2. I had a couple of Mark 1 XR2s. I had a Mark 1 track car. Then I went on to Golf GTIs. I've had a 1.9 205 GTI. I've had a 16 valve Clio, more Golfs. What else have I had? I had a Mark 5 GTI relatively recently. So my cars that I like are hot hatches. And then when I saw the GR Yaris come out, I was like, wow, that thing is awesome. And then when I started looking a bit more into it, homologation special, there hadn't been a homologation special for probably 20 years. It was bespoke built, it was hand built in Japan, you had to pre-order it. The package was just really interesting to me. It was like a bespoke car, like a one of a kind that I don't think you're gonna get anymore. And because I started looking more into it, you know what Facebook or Google ads are like, I kept getting adverts from my local Toyota garage, so I rung them, I looked at what packages they could do, and I got a really good deal, and I ordered one. But, plot twist, I've sold it. Yes, I've sold it. And there's a very good reason why I sold it. Because I'm leaving work, because we want to move and buy a decent house, I want to make sort of a successful business. The Yaris was sat there, and if anyone who's from around here will know that the traffic is absolutely dog poo. I've done 3,500 miles in that Yaris, and I'd say 3,000 of them miles were either sat in traffic or going down a dual carriageway from point A to point B. I just didn't get any use out of it. And because of what it was and the length of time, like the waiting list, well, you can't order them now. You just have to sit on a list and hope they produce some more. The price of them was above like forecourt price, above list price. So I sold it, I made a profit, plus I got all the money back that I'd thrown into it. So I ended up with a nice bank balance. I bought a Hilux, I paid off our family car, I bought myself a posh coffee machine. And do I miss it? I do miss driving it, but like a few people, if you speak to any owners of it, you literally have to drive on the edge to get any enjoyment out of it, because it's that good. You find yourself all of a sudden, you think, what am I doing? Or I was like, what am I doing? I'm on a public road, you can't drive like this. So it's gone. I've got a Hilux. I've got some other bits and pieces. I'm still smiling. Plot twist. Sold the Yaris. Go now, whoa, 38 minutes, jeez. Right, just finally then on the RC questions, what's your favourite part of the hobby, bashing, crawling or other? I enjoy it all. Crawling for me, I like sort of going on trails. I've just done a little run with that and it really enjoyed it. I like the slower side of the hobby. I love going to skate park and, you know, jumping however high in the air and seeing what breaks. But after about an hour, I'm done with that. Whereas I can go out with a trail truck or a crawler, and like I go to the Beds Electric RC Club, I can go there and I could spend all day there. It's awesome. So for me, crawling, or I think For me, crawling mainly because of the social side of it, especially if you go out on your own crawling, it's good fun. But when you go with like a group of people, I think it's a little bit more enjoyable than going with sort of a group of people to go to a skate park, because you know, it's a little bit slower. It's a bit more of a social thing for that crawling side. So I'm going to say crawling. What brand do you rate as the best quality and value? That's a tough one, because I think every brand's got like a little bit, like Traxxas. I'm not a big fan of Traxxas. I think a lot of their stuff's overpriced, but I do think like the Bandit and the Rustler are really good rigs, and they offer good value for money. The 3S Armour range, it's got a little bit expensive now. When I was buying my 3S range, really good value for money. But if we're talking now, if you want a basher, best value for money, Team Associated MT10. You won't get better than that for the price. And recently actually eBay had a 20% off code, and these were 250 quid. That is a bargain. So Team Associated, probably one of the better ones. Not forgetting FTX, this thing is probably the best value 1/8 scale. Best value 1/10 basher. Best value 1/8 basher. If we're talking crawlers, best value crawler for me is the FTX Geo. It's down there. So I don't think there's a definitive answer for that. I think every brand has got its kind of little area where they fit in there. Do you think modern RCs will ever have the collector appeal of 80s and 90s models from Tamiya? I don't think they will. I just think there's too many now. It's like some of the cars, it's like if you think of one-to-one cars, some of the older stuff has got that classic appeal because there's not many left on the road. Cars were different back then, whereas I think now you have to really dial into the bespoke cars that are going to be worth a lot in the future, whereas you can pick any car from the 80s and 90s, and if it's still around now, it's going to be, you know, worth a bit of money or collectible. I think there's so many brands, so many different types of RC. I just don't think it's going to have the same appeal. But there'll certainly be individual ones that stand out in 20, 30 years. Something that you can buy now will stand out then. I just don't think it's going to have the same appeal as it does. Do you have a favourite category of RC? This is, have I gone over this? Touring, truggy, monster truck, short course, crawlers, and why? I love short course trucks. Short course trucks are probably my favourite if I want to just go out and have a bit of a blast around a BMX track or off-road. Short course trucks, they've always been my favourite. But like I've already mentioned, crawlers are probably, yeah, my favourite type of RC. Good scale crawlers or good scale trail trucks. And the final question. I know you buried the hatchet in recent times, but what was your old beef with Talbot about, and when, why did it start? Now that answer is going to take some time. I'm going to do a full answer over on my other channel. I'll leave a link to it at the end of this video. Go check that out. That's definitely, I've only got 6 minutes left on this SD card, and that is not enough really to talk about my beef with Kevin. Anyway guys, check out the links below to the MSUK forum, and I know this is dragged on and some of you are probably really bored and skipped through. I've tried to put it chapters for each question, but I can imagine this could take a while to edit. Anyway, cheers for watching guys. There's a little bit more of an insight into me and what I do and what I enjoy. I hope you stick around, and if you've not already subscribed, I never really ask for subscribers, but if you want to follow the channel, there's loads more coming, and like I've mentioned, as from next year, hopefully this is going to be my full-time job, so loads of stuff coming. Cheers for watching, I will see you next time.